Well then, where do you want me to break you first?
Don't worry. I'll end you quickly.
Same news as last week, huh?
I'm telling you, Aaron, this scoop, I have a really bad feeling about this.
You always have a really bad feeling about every scoop.
No, this one is different. We've never covered something like this before.
Focus, Cholo. This is exactly the break what we need.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Is it really worth it? They said the last police officer who investigated that mansion never returned. Maybe he got eaten by a vampire. Or his brain eaten by zombies. Or killer babies.
What? You're just going to scout the property and get some really good shots inside. What could possibly go wrong?
My name is Emma. I am the synthetic patch note instructor for Path to the Sky. Welcome to the PTTS version 0.2 update video, where I will be leading you through the most recent additions to the game. Normally the developer of this game would do this, but he talks like a sloth with a German accent, so he hired me as his assistant. Anyways, let's get started. The biggest addition in this update is a new playable character, Faria the Arctic Sorceress. She was also stranded on the island, but unlike Akamo, she was never a passenger on the Jolly. Faria can cast a frozen orb that emits small freezing projectiles in all directions, making her a great character to combat multiple monsters. With this, the concept of classes is introduced to the game. Each class has a main spell. Spells can be cast frequently in combat and will be replacing the old resource system. With the new system, the player will gain stamina points with their basic attack and spend these points by casting their main spell. Akamo's spell is a quick dodge roll, followed by 2 quick shots at the end. This makes him a very quick and dynamic character, able to outplay enemies with fast attacks and quick reflexes. As a result of the new class-based system, the combat system has been fundamentally improved. The game has been completely rebalanced, and combat is now more dynamic and challenging. All actions, both by the player and by enemies, now have a cost and a trade-off. Attacking now requires you to stand still, so you have to be more aware of enemy positioning. To compensate, you will now be automatically targeting enemies closest towards your aiming direction. As a result, shooting is now about timing and reaction, rather than simply being able to hit things. The average shot speed has been lowered, and there is now a wind-up and release timer to most combat mechanics, further challenging the player's ability to make good decisions. Pushback is also a new feature in combat, causing you or the enemy to be staggered. When staggered, attacks and blocks are interrupted and gain a short cooldown, causing a higher penalty to taking damage, and increasing the effectiveness of blocking and rolling. All enemies have their own pushback values and thresholds, creating a different combat scenario for different types of enemies. Enemies that are pushed back cannot deal melee damage, which is important, because blocking also causes a pushback. Attack patterns have been vastly improved and diversified for almost all enemies, and several enemies were added. Enemies can now equip bows and staffs, and also make proper use of blocking. Many new monster mods have been implemented, and they can now be combined, meaning that a monster can have multiple mods at the same time, resulting in a champion monster. These mods can contain almost all effects that are available in the game engine through the regular items, so whenever new items are added, the pool of possible monster variations also increases. Since these mods can interact with the enemy's attacks, as well as with each other, they create nearly endless variation of potential encounters. For example, the regular Nova Bird can now have an orbital mod, causing his Nova projectiles to orbit him. If he now has a blazing mod, his projectiles will burn and he will pretty much turn into a burning carousel of death and destruction. The name, level, and mods of your current target will now be displayed in the lower left corner of the screen. Since champion mobs are now a thing, they replace the old bosses, which brings us to the next point. Are you still with me? Because I can't be stopped. I am a fierce robot and I will instruct you on these patch notes relentlessly. Instead of only having 6 levels, the game is now a fully randomized, eternal chain of flying islands. Enemy health, strength and various other stats will scale with island level, and each run will be about trying to get as far as you can. Each flying island is completely random and contains randomized packs of enemies. In the new transition screen, you will be able to see the island as a whole, by its unique silhouette. You will also be able to see the island's properties. Islands are now constructed of biomes, and can now have modifiers as well, which are already planned for future updates. These modifiers will affect monsters, items, and other content of the island, and add unique twists to micro-gameplay. The shopkeeper is now able to afford a bigger room because you all have been so generously buying his potions. The boss room now drops a golden chest, which will always require a key. Because of the class changes, the item room does not drop weapons or shields anymore. Instead, over 20 new items have been added to the game, many of them adding new mechanics. There is now an item log in the lower left corner below the target name, tracking everything that you pick up. A new room has also been added to the game. The Room of Choice, which is inhabited by the drowned sailor, an old mate from the Jali. After defeating several champion mobs, the drowned sailor will offer you a choice between 2 utility items. Proper item pools and item pool depletion have been implemented, causing the game to generate unique items until the pools run out and reset themselves. Room tokens have been added, representing the room type and acting as a player respawn point when you fall off a cliff. Oh no, my batteries are running out. Just kidding. But we are almost done. The separation between controller mode and keyboarder mode has been removed. You now have the ability to customize your controls. You can use several control schemes at the same time and have alternate buttons for the same action. Because of the new combat system, playing with a controller is now highly recommended. Supporting entities movement has been improved, especially for larger groups. A lot of things are planned for support entities, and there will be a lot to come in future updates. Grass can now be destroyed, which is mostly a visual change for now. Finally, physical props around you now can have impact sounds, resulting in a much more vivid sound environment. That's it for this update. If you like what you see, you can buy Path to the Sky on Steam Early Access, or follow us on Twitter for further updates.